everybody, today's video is going to be a little bit of a tutorial. I am going to show you how I like to apply my eyeliner and any little tips or tricks that I have picked up through my time practicing with eyeliner. I am going to show you two different types. One is a liquid pen and the other is from a gel pot. You will have to excuse my eyebrows today. They were arguing and they just don't want to match, so we have to deal with it. The first tip I can possibly give you about eyeliner is that practice does make perfect with it. If you are struggling to get your eyeliner perfect, or you are just wanting to experiment with different looks and all of that sort of good stuff with your eyeliner, practice really does make perfect. I am not perfect with my eyeliner. I do fuck it up quite regularly, but I just sort of shrug it off and make it work, or I won't go anywhere. No, I kind of just make it work. So it's sort of one of those beautiful things that if you do make a mistake, you can actually fix it relatively easy with makeup. Just get like a cleansing wipe or get a Q-tip with some micellar water and just sort of clean it up if you've made a mistake with the flick. It can upset your eyeshadow on underneath, but it's just one of those things. So I'm going to show you how I apply both types of eyeliner to my eyes. I obviously have quite hooded eyes, so I try, it doesn't always work, but I try to keep my eyeliner thin and quite close to my lash line. And then if I'm going to flick it out, I will flick it out more towards the end, not necessarily closer into the eye and actually bring the line out too far, because that will close off my eyes and make them look even smaller and darker. If you have not practiced much with eyeliner or you're not sure, just practice different styles. So practice doing it really, really thick. If you don't have hooded eyes, doing really thick eyeliner can look absolutely amazing. Doing really thin eyeliner, doing just sort of like even experimenting with darker shadows just at your eyelash line as opposed to actually using like a pigmented eyeliner instead, or taking your liner right into the corner of your eye. Like, there are so many different styles with eyeliner. It really all depends on what you prefer and what you think looks flattering with your eye shape. I'm going to put my liquid pen eyeliner on my left eye, and then I'll do the gel pot liner on my right eye. So this one that I'm using is the Maybelline New York Precise Liquid Liner. This is my favorite. I really like this liner, which the fine tip on this one really just makes doing your eyeliner a lot easier if you do want to get really close to your lash line. Really all I do is bring the mirror really quite close, so you're almost gonna sort of smack your face with it, and I look down into the mirror. So I tilt my head back and actually look straight down into the mirror, so there is like quite a lot of my lid is actually exposed, and then I'll do the line. For the first couple of lines, I actually flatten the brush and the pen against my face to make sure that it doesn't sort of like wobble too much, and it just sort of acts as a little bit of an anchor point. So I'm almost stamping the eyeliner on. So when I do my flicks, I bring the eyeliner sort of in line with my lash line, but also meeting the tail end of my brow in terms of angles. So just stamping it on and just trying to keep it in line. Right angle, and then I just draw it across to meet the rest of that line that I did, and then I just fill it in. Like that. So because my eyes are quite hooded, any flick I really do actually doesn't really look too much like a flick by the time everything sort of comes down. So what I will tend to do is then, once I sort of get the base shape of the liner, I will look straight on into the mirror so I can see, and I don't have my head tilted back anymore, so it's not sort of stretching the skin. And I will adjust the angle slightly upwards on the line if I need to. I've made the flick a little bit more upwards, and I will then tilt my head back to help fill in the gap and just to connect it a bit smoother. So on this eye, I'll show you how I do any gel pot liner. This one is the Maybelline Eye Studio pot liner. I've tried the L'Oreal one and a couple of other ones from the drugstores. I haven't tried any higher end ones simply because I don't usually gravitate towards gel liners, so I don't see the point in spending the money on them. So when you take it off, it literally is just a gel. I'm hoping that's going to focus, otherwise it is just a black gel if it doesn't focus. Pot liners can tend to dry out a little bit, so what I will tend to do is actually spray the brush that I'm going to use it with a little bit of the MAC Fix Plus, just to sort of not wet it or soak it or anything, but it just sort of helps to reactivate it a little bit and helps the pigment a little bit, even though this one is fairly pigmented on its own. What I tend to do with the brush is actually, I don't coat it, but I dip it into the pot and will turn it a tiny bit so there is product on both sides, not one. And then the actual application for me is very similar to how I do the liquid liner, except because I'm using an angled brush, it actually makes doing your flick really easy. So I will do the same thing, but I will actually tend to look straight into the mirror the first round and kind of stamp it again. So keeping the same angle as before, so running from the waterline up to the edge of the brow. And I will tend to just very lightly stamp. I don't think you're really going to be able to see that, but I very lightly just stamp sort of the idea of where I want that flick to be. And then I will go back in and intensify it with more of the liner. Darken that line up, so like that. And then I look at it sort of, obviously I would be using the same product on both eyes, but you look at your mirror and you try to see if your angles are doing roughly the same thing. And then I will go in with the brush, do the same thing by tilting my head back, go in with the brush and just line it as close as I can to my lash line. I don't really sort of tilt the brush anyway, because then you can get a really fat line. So if you want a fat line, that's what you can do. Build the product up on one side of the brush. So when you're applying it, you apply it more on an angle to actually get more of that product out to help you get a thicker line. But as I said, I tend to do a thin line, so I don't really do that. And then grab that and just draw it across. So now I'm flattening the brush just because I know that I'm going to fill that gap in with product anyway, so I'm flattening the brush just to sort of make it a bit quicker. And that's really about it, guys. That's kind of all of the tips I have for you. Like I said, obviously I have hooded eyes, so my flicks don't get quite as dark, deep and heavy as some other people, but I quite like this. I don't have it quite so thick that you can't see my eyelid, because if you're spending time on your eyeshadow, you don't want your eyelid to droop down and actually cover all of that work. So I tend not to do anything that has a really thick line, at least on the inner part of my eye, like on the main part of the lid. If I will do a thick line, it'll be more towards where my wings sit. But that is pretty much all I have for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it and that you at least got some tips or tricks. As I said, I can't stress it enough. The number one tip I think anybody can really give somebody else who's trying to practice with eyeliner is literally just to keep practicing. Keep trying different styles for your eyelid and find what works for you, what you like the best, what's easiest for you to do, even if it means that you combine your products. So you can do the pot gel liner to help get your wing shape and then do closer to your lash line with a liquid liner, or whatever actually works for you the best. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, please remember to give it a thumbs up. That does help me out a lot to know what you guys like to watch. If you have not already, then please subscribe to my channel and I will see you in the next video. Bye.